Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.
Boston's about on Six Towns Radio. Time for a guest on the show. Going over to the telephones because we've got a brilliant guest today. Please welcome to the show JJ from The Art of Noise. Hello JJ, how are you doing?
Hi Terry, how are you?
I'm good mate, I'm very, very good, thanks. Well, we got you on the phone today because The Art of Noise have got another remix album out. There must be thousands of mixes out there. What's the process to put these remixes together to put an album out?
The process is fairly complicated and lengthy, and I don't have any direct interaction with that, other than 30 years ago when we made all these records. They all went into storage and were archived. And it's only in recent years that people have gone, yeah, I think there might have been a mix that we did, and they started looking for them and found all these old half-inch analog tapes lying around. And so they've dug them out of storage and put them onto new CDs or whatever the latest format is.
Are you surprised that there still is a massive demand for it?
No, I'm not surprised there's a massive demand, actually, because a lot of the work that we did led to other records that were produced within ZTT. So we would be mixing something and maybe finish it and do a rough mix, and then it would go off into the archive. But that would start a new track, and there's quite a lot of people out there who like to... They're kind of music historians in a way. They like to find the links between all the tracks and go, oh, didn't that appear over there? Wasn't that there? And sometimes we'd start a mix and put a new backing track together, and that would end up being the start of another new track completely, you know. And so there's all these little links between all the music that was put together then.
Yeah. Well, I was a massive fan, still am, and I remember... when I first heard some of the stuff and I saw you being interviewed, I can't remember, it was you that said that you got together as a band because none of you could sing.
That was probably me. Yeah. No, well, there was no vocalist, you know. Yeah. And we're all instrumentalists, if you like, in using that word in the broadest possible sense. And that was part of the advantage, you know. We were basically an instrumental group creating sort of weird and wonderful backing tracks, which are still being played today, which is just amazing. Could never have seen that, never thought of that.
Yeah, and you did a lot of production on other albums and other famous pieces of work as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Worked with people like Kate Bush and Paul McCartney. Worked for bands like ABC. I produced Pet Shop Boys' track called Opportunities.
Yeah.
Bits and pieces all over the place, yeah. Very, very... People often say, you know, what was it like to have all these records out there? And to be absolutely honest with you, a lot of the time we didn't know because we were so busy doing stuff. We were often working 6 days a week. Yeah. And just didn't know what was going on. In the studio, working, going somewhere else, working, and someone say, oh, right, that's, you know, it's been a hit. The first time I heard that we had a hit in America, I'd parked my car, gone shopping, got back in, turned the radio on, and there was Beatbox, and I'm going, what's that doing there? And Paul Gambaccini goes, and that's the #1 black urban dance record in America. I'm going, what? how did that get there? So I just didn't know, you know, we were just so busy.
Beatbox was used on a very famous TV theme as well.
Yeah, absolutely, all over the place. Yeah. All over the place. Been used and reused.
Yeah, in fact, quite a lot of The Art of Noise's work was used on TV themes and adverts and all sorts.
That's right. And I think there's two main reasons. First main reason for that is that we created really great atmospheres. Really great atmospheres. And basically that stood the test of time, and people can still hook into that. I was listening to something the other day and going, yeah, actually that was really good. You know, created something with that was unique at the time, and it was just a product of all of us working together and creating something that had real atmosphere, real style, and was quite thought-provoking, provoked people, you know.
Yeah, that was the good thing about the 80s. A lot of the bands, you know, who came through were from art schools, and they had all these ideas that no one had ever seen before. And I think The Art of Noise really did sort of get people thinking and probably inspired a lot of people. I know one of my favourites, Close to the Eddy, was sampled by The Prodigy, and I think a lot of bands and artists and, you know, singers have come on because of The Art of Noise.
Absolutely. And that's because we created atmosphere, we created really good grooves, and there was nothing quite like it at the time, or since in many respects. And, you know, in essence, we were just having fun. And when you create a record, doesn't matter if it's a classical piece of music or, a pop, what you might call a 3.5-minute single, or a bit of music for an advert, what you're trying to do, and in your job as a DJ, you're trying to reach out to your audience.
Yeah.
And you're trying to grab them. You're trying to grab them by the scruff of the neck and go, listen to this, check this out. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And we had more of our share of music that worked.
Yeah, you mentioned America. You had a hit in America. The biggest one, of course, was Peter Gunn, Grammy winner.
Yes, best rock instrumental, 1986 with Duane, Eddy. And that was great. We got a letter from Henry Mancini, who wrote it, obviously, and he said that he loved the version, and he was very proud to be able to tell us that it had been a hit every decade since he wrote it in 1950. Lots of people had covered it. And then Duane, of course, went on to do his own album, which we worked on, Anne and I worked on with him in Nashville, and featured people like John Fogerty and others. So it was a great record, actually, and he was pretty cool. He would only play the track once through. I mean, we had several versions, but he didn't want to drop in and drop out of the recording. For him, it was a performance, and we then put the best performances together for the final mix. And I took a little bit of his voice that was on tape when he says, "Don't you think I should do one more?" And then I remixed that into the 12-inch.
Yeah, I remember it. I do remember it.
It was fun, but that's what I mean about sort of rebuilding the tracks, because that's what happened. That's what he said, and it reflected what was going on, and he just loved playing as a performer, and his whole life had been standing up and playing and doing things in one take, and that's what he did.
Let's talk about the Kiss collaboration with Tom Jones. Even people who weren't aware of the Art of Noise would definitely remember that. How did that hookup come about? It was so amazing.
It came about because I can't remember the exact chronology, Terry, but it went something like we were putting an album together and someone had seen Tom doing his version of Kiss on a show on TV. Now, who would that have been? Jonathan Ross. The Jonathan Ross show, Friday evening. And they didn't realise that he was in Vegas and still singing. And whoever this person was, and I don't know to this day who it was, worked for the record label that we were on, China Records, and say, wouldn't it be great if the Art of Noise did a version of Kiss with Tom and made it sort of made it more, and made the version more up to date, because he was doing quite a sort of cabaret version, as I remember. Best way I can describe it. Nothing wrong with it at all, but not poppy. And the record company got in contact with him. He went, yeah, absolutely. So that's how that started. And we did the backing track over here in the UK and sent it over to him. And he put his vocals on. And we didn't actually meet him until we'd finished it, and we were doing promotional material. And now, here he is, appearing on The Voice.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
He still does a great live version of Kiss. My daughter, who likes going to festivals, saw him do a version in Glastonbury a few years ago. She said it was absolutely amazing. She said it was just like your record.
Yeah.
Had a horn section, percussionist, backing vocals, huge band. So it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I saw it. That's what I was going to say. I think he was working in Vegas. He hadn't had a hit for, probably 10, 15 years. And I think the reason he's still going today and doing things in a high profile that he is was probably because of the Kiss hit.
Oh, yeah, well, he said so in his book. He said, one of the many books written about him, he said that it's thanks to the record that he did with us that it really launched his profile. And then he went on to make that really great album where he collaborated with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, Reload.
Rewind or something?
Reload,
I can't remember what it's called. Oh, some fantastic records on it. But he could sing, still can.
Yeah.
Just got a fantastic voice. and a really, really incredible attitude, very professional, and he can sing pretty much anything. And it's an absolute pleasure to work with.
I love how he emphasised, I think, a better dance on that version, more than Prince did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But we'll change the lyric as well. I don't know if you noticed that. But the original lyric is women, not girls. Run my world or ruin my world. Run my world, I think.
Yeah.
And he went, women and girls run my world. And we said, what's that? And he said, well, it's pretty obvious, really, isn't it? You don't have to think about it too much.
Yeah. What did Prince make of his version?
Do you know what? I have never heard anything. No. You know, Henry Mancini wrote us a nice note saying, thank you for giving me another hit. Didn't hear anything from Prince. And actually, that might be worth chasing up for someone.
Yeah, he's around again now, so he might be able to talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. Because we didn't get any direct... I haven't heard anything about that, actually, at all. I may have missed it.
Do you have a career highlight, or is there one piece of work you're more proud about than any other?
Ooh, wow. Crikey.
It's a good one. On the spot.
Well, in my study workroom here, I've got all my gold discs up and everything, like we do. Us old rockers. And do you know what? I think that it was probably Moments in Love, actually.
Yeah.
Because I wrote that tune, Anne had given me the sample, and she said, how did that sample go? And I went, here it is. And in those days, when I put a sample in, I found the notes that sounded good. So I just went bum, 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 bum. She said, oh, that's brilliant. Yeah. Because she had perfect pitch, she'd remembered what I'd played. I didn't know. It just kind of dripped out the end of my fingers. And off we went. And in 2 days, we pretty much got the title. I remember saying we got to make it the most boring song imaginable, because Malcolm McLaren always said to us, don't ever be mediocre. So I said, let's make it as long as possible. And then we made it into a 9-bar loop rather than 8-bar loop. And then Paul Morley came up with the title. And it was, I suppose what I'm getting at here is that everybody contributed to that track. And it became so much bigger than its just initial beginnings. You know, it was the Art of Noise at our best, actually.
Did Madonna play it at one of her weddings as well?
That's right. Well, one of them.
We're not sure which one, but one of them.
I think it was Sean Penn.
Yeah.
But don't quote me.
I won't.
But that was certainly a big moment, and I think, you know, getting a Grammy is pretty high up there. In terms of creative process, yes, Moments in Love, because that sort of dripped out at the end of my fingers. In terms of a proud moment, yeah, standing up there and getting a Grammy, that was, you know, very special.
And I've got to ask finally, due to there being such a demand, is there going to be a reformation of the old Art of Noise lineup? Well, Terry, you know what? That's really helpful that you said that, because Gary Langan and I have been doing quite a few interviews recently, and it's come up a lot. Yeah. And it's come up a lot because there's the product out there, there's still the interest out there, and we haven't done anything on the original stuff with Gary and myself working on it. So, yeah, it's come up quite a few times, and very loose and vague conversations have been started. That's all I can say. That's enough.
Because at the moment, I just don't know.
That's enough.
I just don't know. I was teaching for 10 years. I went into education for 10 years, teaching computing and ICT, and I'm retired from that now. So, you know, it's possible that we could all get together, and in December or November, whenever it was, I can't remember. We all got together for the first time in the same room at the Queen Elizabeth Hall, where the BBC Symphony Orchestra played and had done an orchestral arrangement of Into Battle. And we were all there. Trevor was there, I was there, Gary was there, Paul Morley was doing the sort of voiceover introduction on stage. Anna was conducting and had written some stuff. And it was great, actually. It was really nice to see everybody. And, yeah, the conversations were sort of floated.
Yeah.
And it would be, I think it has the potential to be great. But at the moment, there are no definite plans.
Well, that's brilliant. Thank you very much, JJ. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Absolute pleasure, Terry. Thanks a lot, and I appreciate your time.
You take care, man. Ta-ra.
Bye now. Bye.